Hello and welcome to today's marketing session. We are talking all about content strategy. This is one of the biggest, the most important topics that I can probably share with you when it comes to building a business that is magnetic and that has value, purpose, and intent, especially as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur with a small team. So, welcome. And if you're brand new, we are actually streaming right now in on two pages on the Hype Media page, which is our boutique social media marketing agency page, as well as on my new page, the Stylishly Branding with Gina page, which is more focused on the female entrepreneurs that I can serve and make an impact with more one-on-one, more on a personal level. So welcome. If you are brand new, I'm so happy that you have found me. And I hope that you're ready to take some notes. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure to also grab that pen and paper and take some notes, because I think what I'm going to share with you is going to give you a really great strategic plan moving forward if you feel like you are content dumping. That's what my partner Brandy calls it. And I have to use that term because I'll tell you what, I used to do it too. So before we get started, first, I'd love to know, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important do you feel content is to your business, especially to your business when you're showing up as a personal brand? Let me know. Drop that number down below. 1 through 10. And don't be shy, please. Even if you're watching this on the replay, drop any comments down below, any questions. I am here to answer them. So if we haven't officially met before, my name is Gina Tassinelli, and I am the creator of Stylishly Branding with Gina, as well as the owner and founder of Hype Media, which is a social media marketing agency. We support small businesses, medium-sized businesses with done-for-you services that include lead generation, Facebook ads traffic, Instagram ads traffic is really our specialty, as well as content creation and so much more. But my passion is working with female entrepreneurs one-on-one and inside of my Splash Marketing Collective to help you define, elevate, develop your personal brand and use the same strategies that we use as an agency. I share them on how you can use them for yourself without hiring an agency. Okay, so what I'm going to talk to you about today is something that is really, really important for us as entrepreneurs. You know, maybe you have a small team, part-time team that helps you, or maybe you're a solopreneur and you're doing things on your own. So I'm sure that you have heard, raise your hand, say yes if you've heard, content is king, right? That little quote has been around for quite a long time because it truly is king. But here's what that means. Here's the meaning behind this. The purpose of content is a way of you communicating to your ideal audience, to your perfect human for your business that can use your services. It's the way of communicating to them what you do, who you help, how you serve them, and bringing value to them. So anytime that you put any piece of content out there, a Facebook Live, a blog post, a quote, just a caption, an image, a 15-second video, a podcast, a YouTube video, all of these are all forms of content. Anytime that you put that content out there, it needs to be strategic. If not, you're just kind of like throwing darts at the wall, hoping that something sticks. And if you think, or if you feel that you're putting all this energy into creating content and your sales aren't where they should be based off of all of the energy, time, and effort that you're putting into that content, then you need to go back to the drawing board and take some notes right now, because this is going to help you. Okay, so if you hear something that you absolutely are like, wow, Gina, thank you so much for that tip, I would love for you to drop a hashtag wow, because that helps me recognize that something that I said definitely sparked your interest and was helpful. Okay, Kathy, yes, I know that you know how important content is. Um, and yeah, on a scale from 1 to 8, I know content is huge. So now I know as an entrepreneur being in this space, and even, my own clients and people that I speak to in my own networking meetings, in the beginning, especially for me, I would say to myself, there is no way that I can compete with these people that are out there, with these online marketers, podcasters, bloggers, course creators that look like because they have hundreds of thousands of followers, they are killing it. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. And you can compete. What you may not realize is that behind these people are also investors. There's also third-party agencies. There's also, hundreds of thousands of dollars in outsourcing. All right. But you can do the same without outsourcing if that's what you choose to do. Now, as an agency, we work with small, medium-sized companies that don't want anything to do with content creation and with social media marketing. They want somebody to do it for them, but they have the resources to pay for that. I also work with many entrepreneurs that just want me to teach it to them because they don't have the resources to hire out for it. So it's not that you can't do it. You can absolutely do it, but it must be strategic, because if not, then you really are wasting your time. And the last thing you want to do is waste your time, I'm sure, right? So let's talk about, how do you do it? All right. So the first thing is, you want to create a content calendar. Please, this is something that I highly, highly suggest to anybody that I work with. And we even create them for our done for you clients to keep us organized, to keep us, in the know of what it is that our ideas, how we can collaborate with others. It's necessary. You must have a content calendar. What does a content calendar look like? There's hundreds of different ways that you can create a content calendar. Literally, you can write down a list of content ideas. There's a content calendar, okay? My favorite tools are Trello or a Google Sheet in a calendar form. For me, I'm a very visual person, so if I can see a calendar, then I'm able to plug in what I want to put where. So that works for me. There are also some, third-party apps that you can use for content calendar, where you can curate content, you can add content to it, and they'll even schedule out for you. Now, I don't suggest using third-party schedulers for your main content. For filler content, absolutely, but for your main content, I suggest using the platform natively when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. And with that, you use Creator Studio. So if you have a Facebook page, if you're an admin of a Facebook page, you have access to Creator Studio, which is where you would schedule out your posts for your content for Facebook and Instagram, your business profiles. Okay. You can't schedule out stories, not yet, but definitely take advantage of those. So number one is create a content calendar. You want to sit down, and if you can't sit down for an hour once a week, break it up. Maybe you do 15 minutes in the mornings on Monday through Thursday, but make sure to set a time to actually sit down and plan ahead. Okay. And I used to actually plan content like a month in advance. We still do that, or even further down than that. And we still do that for holidays. But what I found over the last year is that there were many times we had to go back and revise a lot of our already scheduled out content because of the pandemic. So with the way the world is nowadays, I would really recommend doing about 2 weeks out. And, and that's pretty good. 2 weeks, just to keep things relative to what's going on in the world, relative to, how things are. That's really helpful. Number two is try and use some help. So for example, I'll mention like some of our clients. So as a coach, for example, if you're a lifestyle coach, or if you're a fitness coach, or if you're a conflict resolution coach like Kathy, your specialty is not marketing. It's not meant to be, right? You have a unique skill. You have a your thing that you're good at. So nobody expects you to be amazing at creating content. So one thing that I highly suggest, especially to entrepreneurs, to help alleviate some of this, is to find a virtual assistant to help you. You can find some really amazing virtual assistants for a really low hourly rate. And I will say, going outside of the US is not a bad thing. You just have to definitely do some interviewing, ask, for some samples of their work, maybe some referrals, things like that. But what you pay for some of the virtual assistants outside of the US is actually really, really good for them. And as low and, low as it would be for us, it's not for them. So don't be afraid to expand outside of the US and help somebody else that's not in the US. Now, there's also amazing people, obviously, inside the US too. So on our team, we have a mixture of both. Just depending on, I really like to I like to have an assistant for different things. So I don't have one assistant that does everything for me, because I believe that everybody has their specialty. Everybody's skilled the most at one or two things. You can't possibly know how to do everything. For example, like myself, I am great with social media engagement. I'm great with Facebook ads. However, there are some things on the back end that I have somebody else do because they're so much better at them, and I can recognize that. So try and leverage some help, okay? And you can really do that with minimal costs. In the end, honestly, it pays off. What you're doing is you're leveraging time. So it's either you're paying for your time, and you could be losing clients here if you're not servicing them well, not paying attention enough to them, because you're working so hard at these other things that aren't your thing. Number 3 is partnering or collaborating with others is a great way to build content. So try to get on interviews, try to get on podcasts, and vice versa. Invite others to do interviews on your Facebook Live or on your YouTube channel, or wherever it is that you're showing up. Partnering and collaborating is really helpful as well. Maybe you want to have a guest blogger blog something on your website. And if you don't blog, that's okay. Have them write an article. You can use that for content, and share it. It doesn't have to just be sitting on a blog. The fourth way, my favorite, which is a super efficient way of extending the life of any piece of content, is to reuse and repurpose. I can pretty much guarantee that if I reschedule this live to post again in about 2 months, no one's going to remember that it has already happened. No one will know that I already did this live, that I already put this content out. Not only, well, if the same person ends up watching it, which is very unlikely most of the time for our content, they are not going to recognize that I've already done this training before. So reuse and repurpose. There is no reason not to. The other way to reuse and to repurpose is, which I've talked about on here before, is to repurpose your content in different ways. So I can take this Facebook Live, make it a blog post. I can have it transcribed to make it a blog post, but at the same time, I can take pieces of that transcription and create quote cards for them. I can create an ebook. I can probably create a checklist of a content strategy checklist just from what I'm talking about today. And I can put that checklist in an email. I can convert that blog post to an email as well. There's just so many options. So that one piece of content that you create, you want it to serve many different purposes. You want to expand its reach, and you want it to have intent and purpose. Okay. So for example, if you post a quote on your page and you're like, "Oh, nobody engaged on my quote." Well, if you just posted the quote, you didn't ask for anybody to do anything, so we can't really expect them to engage. So if you wanted something else to come out of that quote, maybe say something like, does this resonate with you? Or on a scale from 1 to 10, do you feel this way? So we have to also give call to actions. And every time that we put a piece of content out there, we have to think about what is it that we want to get in return for that. If we're offering a piece of content to somebody, and hopefully it has value and intent and it's going to serve a purpose for them, and you're thinking, oh, but nobody did anything with it. Well, what is it that you wanted to get out of it? So think about your purpose as well. First, think about the purpose of the content for them, how it's going to help your ideal client, your ideal audience. And then what is it that you are hoping to get out of that, of their action from that intent, from that purpose. Okay. Let's see. Any questions? And if you're watching this on the replay, don't be shy. Ask me anything while I'm on. I would love it. Okay. The next one, I think we're on number 5. So you want to cover lots of different topics, or lots of different angles based off of one topic. So I'm going to give you 2 really helpful ways of creating content so that you can cover all those angles. One way is by asking yourself, or you could even ask your audience, or collect 20 questions that your ideal client would ask you. What are these like top questions that you feel people want to know about in regards to what it is that you offer, or your services? Like for example, me, I get asked all the time, how do I build a personal brand? How do I show up as a personal brand? How do I run Facebook ads? How do I increase my leads? How do I go live on Facebook? Write down at least 20 questions that your audience would ask you, and then type out the answers to those. And now you have 20 at least pieces of content. Okay. Now, how you provide those answers from those questions, it could be in a Facebook Live, it could be in a blog post, it could be in a podcast, it could be on an image, like give some tips. It could be, what else am I missing here? It could be in a checklist, it could be a document, it could be in an email. So from that one answer that you gave, you have all of these different ways of answering that question. Okay, so that's one way. Another way that I love to teach is doing like a content map. And the way that this works is you want to think of, in the center is a circle, and that in that center, you type in a problem, one of those questions, for example. Okay. So if it's, or the main topic, so say it's Facebook ads. So I've got my Facebook ad is like the main topic. All right. Now, outside of that circle, I'm going to put like 3, and I actually have an infographic for this. If you want that, just say the word content and I will send you a copy of it, but it's so helpful. So the main topic, for example, is going to be Facebook ads. Now I'm going to have like 3 legs coming out of that. Okay. This leg is going to talk about setting up Facebook ads. This leg is going to be creative for Facebook ads. This leg is going to be lead generation through Facebook ads. So with that one topic, you have lots of mini topics to talk about. And that is a great way of creating content. And then you take all of those mini topics and you create a Facebook Live out of it, an Instagram, IGTV video out of it, a story out of it, a blog post. I mean, there's just so many different ways to put that out there. Kathy, for sure, I will get that to you. Oh my gosh, you're going to love it. It's super, super helpful. All right. So I think we are on number 6. which is actually part of the beginning of this training, is to set aside content creation dedicated time, okay, to literally sit down and create this content. And it doesn't have to take forever. So I have recognized that if I am struggling with creating content, it's because I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I'm focusing on myself instead of focusing on those that I can serve. And when you take yourself out of the picture for a moment and you just think about, why am I putting this piece of content together? It's to help them do what? It's to help them get from point A to point B. It's to help them feel this way. It's to help them. So anytime that I can think of, what is the purpose of this? How is this going to help my ideal audience? The content just starts flowing and those ideas start flowing. So take yourself out of it, okay? But definitely set aside some time. The other tip, I think we're on number 7. I may be off track with my numbers, but the other tip is to use user-generated content. So what does that mean? Testimonials. Ask questions and ask your followers, ask your audience questions. Find out their view on a certain topic. Also, share content from other sources, from other Facebook pages, from other Instagram posts, but make sure, of course, to source them, to give them credit. Okay, you never want to pull somebody's information and pretend like it's yours. That is highly unethical and super rude and super lazy. So don't do that. But share from other sources. You can't absolutely know everything, right? So it's really good to share from other sources and to give a variety of opinions, a variety of points of views, and so forth. Testimonials, like I said, are a great way to do this. I was just on a strategy call with a potential new client who's got this amazing brand. I can't wait to share it with you guys when we start working with her. But she has this amazing brand, and I was giving her some ideas of how to create these testimonials. Videos are great. So especially if you have a physical product, have people that you know, people that you trust, your own customers, have them go on video for just a few minutes, couple minutes, and share their experience of that product or service. Have them actually use the product on video if they're up for that. I mean, that's like one of the best ways to utilize user-generated content. Number 8 is to also be prepared, have the mindset that at any given moment, your content may just not be it. Okay. And one way to figure this out is to analyze your content. So go into your analytics for Facebook, for Instagram, look at the content that you have put out there over time and check out which ones have the most reach, which ones have the most engagement, which ones have the most click-through rates. Those pieces of content are going to give you a really great idea of the type of content that your audience is consuming and what they want more of. So make sure to utilize all of those analytics. And that's right inside of your Facebook page. You can find that out inside of Creator Studio, also gives you access to that. But that's also really important to really gauge what the content that I'm putting out there, what is working, what is sticking, what is not. And what you see that's sticking, you want to do more of that. The last thing actually that I was going to mention is, if you don't want to be a slave of creating content, in addition to all of these tips that I just gave you, recognize that running a business, a true business, takes some investment. Okay. And I will tell you from my own experience as an entrepreneur, as a former solopreneur, that a strategized paid traffic campaign, especially on social media, will go a long way. But it's got to be done right. It's got to be done with strategy. It's got to be done with intent, with purpose, without just throwing money out there, hoping that it sticks. If you're watching this on the replay, drop any questions down below. And if we've never jumped on a call together, take advantage of me for 30 minutes. I walk you through how to accelerate your personal brand. So just say splash and we can coordinate a time. You get 30 minutes free with me. It's highly impactful. And I share with you some ways to help you optimize what you're currently doing and how you can optimize in the future. And just to really show you, where you can go from here. So I'd love to do that with you as well. All right. I'll see you guys next week again, right here on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Have a fabulous rest of the week. Bye.